What color are your tatas? Find out while we visit Tina Clemens of Novo Scan Thermography. Hi, I'm here with Tina Clemens of Novo Scan Thermography. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being here, Mary.
Thermography is a wonderful, wonderful technology. I'm a huge proponent of it, but a lot of our viewers probably haven't even heard of it. Can you tell them a little bit about thermography?
Absolutely, and you're right. A lot of people have not heard about thermography. It's been FDA approved since 1982. What it is it's a scan of your breast, and it looks for heat. Thermal imaging is also used in the military, trying to, where we catch bad guys that we can't see. It takes the body heat, and we can see them at night. It also is used in the weather so that different temperatures are, colorized to detect when the storm's coming. So it's used in a variety of ways. The use of body temperature in detecting disease dates back to 400 BC with Hippocrates, the father of medicine. When somebody would come to him, we didn't have x-ray machines back then, so he would do mud treatments, and wherever the mud dried the fastest, he knew exactly where the heat was, so he could pinpoint where the inflammation was. Basically, when a woman comes in, we'll be in a nice quiet room, and they'll put on a smock, and then the camera is, they'll be standing a few feet away from the camera, and then it'll just scan the body, and we'll do 6 images of the breast, and we'll detect, heat spots that should be paid attention to.
Now, a lot of people think, well, this is brand new or it's anecdotal. You told me there's been over 800 studies that followed 300,000 women, exactly. One in particular.
One study as early as 2008 was done by the American Journal of Surgery, and it was done by breast surgeons where they utilized non-invasive digital infrared thermal imaging, which is also known as thermography, and they wanted to use it in conjunction with their tests with biopsies. So they took 94 women that needed biopsies. Of those 94 women, 60 came back malignant, and of those 60, 58 were detected by a thermogram.
So what are the similarities or the differences between doing the mammograms or the thermography?
Actually, a thermogram and a mammogram cannot be compared because they're absolutely looking at 2 different things. A mammogram is looking at the anatomical, which is your skeletal system, or your skeletal. A thermogram is looking at your tissue, so it's looking for blood supply. It's not apples and apples, it's definitely, you're comparing apples and oranges.
And a tumor needs a blood supply to grow.
Exactly. A mammogram subjects a woman to the equivalent of 1,000 chest x-rays of radiation. And the problem with that, the big problem with that, is that the radiation builds up in the body over time. It does not go away.
And for someone like me who is predisposed, because there's a lot of cancer in my family, that's dangerous. Yeah. That can raise my chances.
Exactly. So every year, if you're getting mammograms annually, you increase your risk of getting breast cancer by 2% every year. So if you think about that, if you're getting, over a 10-year period, that's increasing your risk 20%.
And that's important for a lot of women and men to know out there.
Oh, men get breast cancer too.
Now, you were saying that they've changed the recommendation when women should start getting their annual mammograms.
In May of 2012, a report came out that was changing the recommendation for when women should get their first mammogram, and it's now 50 instead of 40, and it's every other year instead of every year.
Well, even with the increase in breast cancer, they put it back 10 years.
They've realized that radiation is really harmful on premenopausal breast tissue, so it's definitely more dangerous than anything. And on that note, with women getting breast cancer now in their 20s and 30s, and then they're not recommended to get their first mammogram until they're 50, where does that leave these young women? And if a woman starts in her 20s with thermal imaging, it can change the outcome of her breast health tenfold. She doesn't have to get breast cancer.
And I think once you get a thermogram,
yeah,
you're not going to want to do the other. And there's nothing wrong with mammograms. They're important as well, but it's so nice to not have that invasiveness and the manipulation and
squeezing and,
yes.
And just, yeah, absolutely.
And then, like you said, it stores in your cells and builds up, so the radiation doesn't go away.
Exactly. I wanted to make a note too that a lot of women are afraid. I've been getting that a lot. Oh, I'm afraid to get a thermogram. Don't be afraid, because if you catch it early enough, you can actually reverse the signs or the symptoms of what they're calling ductal carcinoma in situ, for example. A lot of times it's not invasive. A lot of times you can change your diet, your lifestyle, and completely reverse all of that.
Without the surgery, without the chemicals, that's wonderful.
Chemo, radiation, exactly.
So let's say I come in, I get my scan, where do the results go?
That's a great question. So we'll take your images, and what happens is those images get sent over to Dr. Melvin or Dr. Ben Johnson through our server, which is HIPAA compliant, so everything's confidential. And as you know, or as I've told you, Dr. Ben Johnson is who I studied thermography under, and Dr. Ben is an MD, an NMD, and a DO, and he was the only MD featured on the film version of The Secret. And back in March, he had a client come to him with invasive ductal carcinoma. Invasive. And at that point, doctors most often want to just remove the breast, right? He changed her diet, no chemo or radiation, and almost reversed the symptoms in 2 months.
That's amazing.
It's really amazing. So ladies, don't be scared. Don't be scared to get a thermogram, because when you find it early, you can change your life.
And without chemo, without radiation, it's fabulous.
Exactly. Thank you.
So I know there are a lot of people out there right now that would love to get a hold of you. How do they find you?
They can actually call us at 480-284-2222 or visit our website at www.denovoscan.com.
And as always, if you want to learn more about Tina and thermography, you can visit us at healthyutvshow.com.